Hello, everyone. My name is Amir Othman. I am the Director of Economic Development and Digital Equity, and I lead MBEP's Broadband Initiative. So just want to give you a bit of a rundown of our initiative in broadband. It dates back about half a decade now. It predates, obviously, everything with COVID and what we've experienced as a community and the work that we've been doing. And we were truly a trailblazer in the sense of raising that flag, being that squeaky wheel, and showcasing the importance of broadband and beyond just the space of accessing internet, but also now in your economic development plans, your housing, infrastructure, and what I want to showcase a little bit of how we're doing today in the region, as well as how we carry on that trailblazer legacy. I was also told if I make this short, people will like it more, because then that gets us closer to lunch. So I'll be as brief as possible. I just want to give a rundown of what our panelists really talked about, which is the challenges that we're facing as a region. So we covered infrastructure. There's broadly like three categories. There's infrastructure, access, awareness, and within it there's adoption as well. And we focus a lot of work on infrastructure. There's historical level of funding on the infrastructure deployment and planning side, and that's evident, as you can see, with the panelist responses. But there's other items that I think that need to be focused on as a community when it comes to the adoption, the awareness, the programs that are there to expand the community capacity to utilize the expanded access that we're going to be having with the historical level of funding. Currently, MBEP has two leadership roles in the region. One is the South Salinas Valley Broadband Authority, the SSVBA, that Supervisor Lopez gave a great introduction on and briefed you all about, and that's primarily focused in South County. The other is the Central Coast Broadband Consortium, the CCBC, that Rochelle was kindly enough to form that for us and made us be a resource in the region. And I really want to talk about, with SSVBA and our work there, that was introduced by Supervisor Lopez. Let me tell you a bit about what CCBC has been doing in all three counties. So there's four items that I would bring up. One is the FFA Last Mile Grant, which is about a $2 billion last mile grant account that closed its first window at the end of September. We provided stakeholders with GIS support on the data and the mapping side for the CBGs that they're looking for, which is a huge burden to alleviate for some of our local and smaller ISPs to allow them to then build out the infrastructure needed for high-cost areas in the region. The other thing is providing letters of support on behalf of CCBC and showcase that they are a partner and a convener that works with other stakeholders, and that's really important when you want to develop public-private partnerships. The other is on the technical assistance and the guidance to the grant rules and guidelines. If you've ever applied for a state or federal fund or just any grant, you know, as spelled out as the grant guidelines are, there still need clarifications, and having that expertise is always, I think, has been a value added. The same is said for the CAS Infrastructure Grant, as well as the regional convenings that we work on. The B Digital Equity Workshop we held at CSU MB was back on June 2nd, and that was an opportunity for our stakeholders, the disadvantaged communities historically, as well as the communities that still lack access, to voice their opinions and communicate to the state group directly about how we can expand digital equity in the region. Finally is supporting public-private partnerships. So one thing that I take true pride in is one of the applications for the FFA grant that just passed was a partnership between LFC and SurfNet. SurfNet is an ISP in the region. They also have a presence that goes over 2 decades now. And LFC is Loaves, Fishes, and Computers. Both are members of MBEP. Loaves, Fishes, and Computers focus on digital literacy and training, and we got them to partner together for an application for the FFA grant that would have the network be owned by a public entity and operated and maintained by the ISP, which then would go into expanding affordability, expanding digital literacy programs, and it's truly one of a kind that I think would be really exciting and we hope gets granted. And it's one that we put together from the very start. So these are some of the efforts of CCBC and its work that we do through that. I would say if you are here on behalf of elected office on the local, the regional level, and we haven't spoken, we probably should. As I mentioned, MBEP's reach goes beyond CCBC, It goes into SSVBA. We also partner with our community anchor institutions, county offices, nonprofits. Our network is wide because we continue that trailblazing work in the sense of we were leading the effort of like infrastructure and expanding access is important. Now we're continuing that trailblazing work and going into the other and developing the community capacity to leverage it. Are they able to utilize the resources? What resources do they need to then be connected? If they are historically disenfranchised or disadvantaged for reasons of the lack of infrastructure or language barriers or anything on that end, developing that community capacity is going to be important, and that's how we continue to then lead the role there. And we continue that through our digital equity project that we got with 3CE, which was a private grant that got us $75,000 for a partnership with LFC to expand 300 individuals across the 3 counties from disadvantaged groups to get digital literacy training, and we'll be starting up in a couple weeks. The other is ACP enrollment, the Affordable Connectivity Program, which we'll hope will be renewed. That is a resource to expand affordability in the region. It's especially an important resource in urban areas that do have the infrastructure available, but there's a need for them to make that resource more affordable to them to utilize. Finally, we also have the broadband white paper that we released, which speaks on the state of the region a lot more concretely and talks about the hybrid model that we introduced. So these are all efforts that right now we're expanding into. And our recommendations really focus on fixed wireless, as that's a key component that needs to be recognized, fiber optic technology, and the hybrid broadband model that incorporates expanding access in the region that includes wireless and fiber. And I think this will want to be a key consideration, especially with fiber not being completely available or accessible in certain parts of the counties. So I'll leave you with this. This is the broadband white paper QR code. That's just my pitch to read it. If you have any questions or follow-ups, do reach out to me. I think there's communications that we need to have as a community. Like Rochelle mentioned, that we're stronger together. Regional applications are important. And I think what I'm really proud of is the work that we've been doing and the upcoming efforts we have ahead of us. So thank you.